It is the conceptualization of the mind that creates confusion, depression. But what is it that conceptualizes the mind? It has to be the mind conceptualizing itself. Firstly, we have to understand that the mind is the creation of all names, words, identities, forms, places, space. The mind creates a version of your body to an example of what it mind perceives would be adequate for that what it serves, to spend a decent quality, contented life within a body. But when it begins to conceptualize, meaning add on more apps to the body, it starts to have great ideas about what it could be, what it could find, what it could know. So firstly, the mind creates clothes, a way of enhancing what this body means to the mind. Now, the original mind, it doesn't need these apps. It's quite happy to be here and experience in a more natural, neutral way. A loincloth enough. But your mind is born from a belief system that it is far more powerful. Now, where the subtlety differs is when the mind thinks it's the body and the person that is much more powerful, it creates a foolishness about something that really is a limited thing. The body is limited. It can run marathons quite fast, but it can't fly. It can't move into the space and fly through the universe as a body. So the body and the mind is quite a powerless thing. It's much more able to survive than most species on this planet. But what is powerful is the one that dwells within the body, because it is beyond the body, beyond the mind. So the mind itself sees a reflection of what it can create. So it needs some tools, some equipment, some information. But the confusion is where it begins to think it is the body, and it's the body that has all these capabilities. But the body is a temporary thing. It is a limited thing. The mind is serving one thing, the I that dwells within the body. The body is the vessel for the mind to serve it. But when the mind forgets about that what is within the body and takes ownership of the body, it thinks it's serving the body. It's the only thing it has to serve. It's turned its back on its true state, its true master. It's what it is here to serve. So the body and the ego conceptualizes in some sort of dream world that we call me, person, identity, That's my story. So the ego creates this story, it conceptualizes, it creates ideas, it creates time, it creates memory, it creates stimulation, it creates attachments, it creates bonds, it creates emotional needs. The one inside only needs the five senses. Together as one sense, it is complete, meaning it cannot individualize between each sense. It only knows that within these five senses, that great sixth sense is created as what it is. A feeling of being alive, a feeling of being alive, a feeling of being here, a feeling of existence. I just want to feel as if I exist. That's what you really originally started off as. But when you are confronted by this ego mind, which no human being can be exempt from, unless you're born on a desert island, you meet no other human and you simply exist on that island on your own. You will survive, you will exist, you will not know. You will not be able to compare or have differences or opposites. You won't know what the sun is. It has no name. You'll give it a name yourself if you have a mind capable of doing that. But in a world full of ego, you cannot not be confronted by other ego states. So the mind conceptualizes about the body until something inside says, I cannot enhance this body anymore. I now know these limitations about this body has that I'm serving, that I am. You know, it's completely forgot about the I inside. It's completely forgot about it. Completely disconnected about that, what it serves. But it comes to a point where the body has reached an exhausting, depressing, anxious state. So the mind says, I can't put my body, the ego mind says, I can't put my body under this strain. But some egos push the body. They push it until it's completely useless. Most egos take their mind off the body and put their mind on itself, on their mind. I'll enhance the mind. So all that's taking place is an energy of ego, which is not relevant to the body or the pure mind or the soul or the spirit, and it enhances itself. It's thinking about its mind. It's thinking about itself all the time. This is the person me. It's still attached to the body. It needs the body. And every now and then it believes, I am being good to this body. But then every now and then it goes back with great ideas about how it's going to enhance this world. But I need my body to do it, so the body is pulled in again. And this ego state, when it gets to that state that the body is limited and cannot serve it anymore, when it serves itself and it sees that it's only a thinking mind. It thinks it's trying to conceptualize and create ideas about great things about itself. And it perceives itself to be a part of the systematic external world. It believes itself to be a part of the system. It believes itself to be a part of society, all these words. And of course, thoughts with no actions, which you can say is a good thing. I'm not taking the body into this, but I'm going to continue thinking about great ways and great ideas and great stories and great plans and great futuristic holidays and plans for the future, It's going to explode. And that's what severe depression and severe anxiety and stress is. And when the mind knows it's in this state, and it's the mind is in this state, it is an opportunity to get out of this state. But when the mind in this state suddenly refers to the body. It takes the body out of the situation. And this is the most dangerous part for a human being, is when the ego says, oh, well, I can't do this anymore. What's going on? Everybody's against me. I have to get out of this world. And it refers back in, I have to get out of this world. So no longer is it pointing to his head, it's pointing to the body. The ego dwells here. So what's the point of this video? We all know this. We all know that the ego is the primary route to suffering, to depression, to suicide, to not being able to fit in and cope, and the opposing states of taking control and being controlled, and cannot find some sort of balance and some sort of happiness and some sort of contentment. The ego will never, ever, ever find that while it's looking outward into this projected body, and while it's conceptualizing, and while it's in an ideological world, while it's trying to create things that are of no use to the body and of no use to the one inside, because the one inside is now completely forgotten about. And this is the opportunity which the speaker experienced, and Eckhart Tolle will confirm, is in this state of depression is the opportunity to realize it is the mind that is depressed. It is not you, the body. It is the mind that is depressed. And in this opportunity, it is a great opportunity to simply self-inquire. And that means to leave this mind alone. Let it spoil. Let it antagonize its head and move into this area. And focus everything on this area. This is self-inquiry. This is looking backwards now. This is looking to that pure state of being. And in this pure state of being, you find yourself as that true one. That is the only thing that matters, and is the only thing that is permanent, and is the only thing that is here to experience life as it is. I don't know if many will actually understand that it's not the mind that you're trying to give more information to about consciousness, about non-duality, because the mind itself, ego, is a thinking mind, and it will think more. If I get some consciousness, if I get to the root of consciousness, if I understand consciousness, I can write a book about consciousness. Therefore, I can get some more money. This is all thinking. The body is not even considered in this thought process of establishing what consciousness is. So the body has to be a part, because the body is total consciousness. So when you're looking for a speaker to tell you about consciousness and non-duality, the answer is right here. The answer is right here. You can wait for depression and anxiety and ego to torture and stifle and suffocate your mind, and then take that opportunity to say, right, I'm going to surrender now. I'm going to leave this head alone, and I'm going to go within. I am going to fall into the abyss. It may be fearsome. It may die. But I'm taking the chance. It's rather better than being in this painful, horrific, suffering way. This is true inquiry here. True inquiry is here, leaving here and moving here. You can use the word I. When you say I, is it in your head? If it is, it needs to go. When you say I, if it's here, that's the way. That's the way that Christ points you to. The way within is I. You're not a distant relationship of Christ. You are the same as Christ. You don't perceive and appear to be anything special because you're not been called to do a specific role. But you have a role to acknowledge Christ. Acknowledge a reflection of what that man or that spirit was, by looking within and meeting with this Christian spirit. This, you can call it Hindu spirit, you can call it Muslim spirit, but it's the spirit that we all are. And in one moment, this can go and still remain on the body. and everything becomes alive within. And your identity is still there, your ego is still there, but it is just a little wave to remind you that it's okay to be human. It's okay to be alive. It's okay to be slightly egoistic. It's okay to have a mind. It's okay to have these five senses. Because I know that I am beyond mind. I is beyond this consciousness state. I is true. I don't know what I is, but whatever I is, I'm deeply loved with that what I is. Namaste.